Parque de Atracciones de Madrid is the oldest theme park in Spain's capital city, but it has kept up with the times. This park features some rare coaster models and some intriguing non-coasters, and it's a very lushly landscaped park given its placement in the city. In this review, I will share everything you need to know about this park and whether it is worth visiting. This park opened back in 1969 by Parque de Atracciones Casa de Campo de Madrid. That company later acquired the Madrid Zoo and was renamed Parques Reunidos. This company has since gone on to own 17 different theme parks across the globe, including the nearby Parque Warner Madrid. These two parks are just a half hour apart, but they feel distinctly different, allowing them to coexist in the same market. Both parks have a large and diverse ride lineup. Parque Warner Madrid is located in the outskirts of the city, essentially in a desert. This park has a larger focus on theming and intellectual properties, featuring rides themed to the Looney Tunes and DC Comics characters. Parque de Atracciones de Madrid is located in the heart of the city in the Casa de Campo Park. This theme park is much greener and lusher. There is plenty of shade, and that's much appreciated in the brutal summer heat, but there's also some light theming. The park was renovated in the late 1990s to have themed zones. Nickelodeon Land is the most highly themed area. It is a large area targeted towards kids with a series of rides and attractions themed to popular cartoon characters, such as SpongeBob, Dora the Explorer, and the Fairly Odd Parents. There are colorful rides and themed statues all about. Naturaleza is the greenest area of the park, and multiple rides take advantage of this setting. Mecanismo is to the left of the main entrance. This area is lightly themed to thrills, featuring the park's most extreme attractions. Then there's randomly an Eiffel Tower, not sure why that's there, but it does look good. By contrast, Tranquilidad is towards the back of the park. This area is themed to leisure, featuring some scenic attractions, and there are stretches without any rides, so guests can just sit down on the grass and relax. I also love the presentation of the main midway dividing the zones. It's a long stretch with gardens in the middle, trees on the sides, and Starflyer in the distance. It is such a picturesque setup. Then that aforementioned Casa de Campo Park adjacent to the property is a beautiful park on its own, full of walking trails and trees. And the park's tallest rides take advantage of this, looking over the forest and city skyline. If you want to visit this park, it is easily accessible by public transit. There are buses from the airport or downtown area. It is also surprisingly convenient to access by car. A lot of city parks have limited and costly parking. Parque de Atracciones has neither of these issues. There are multiple large lots adjacent to the park, and I cannot believe they're free. This is a rarity for any large theme park, but especially one in a major city. This park has two different entrances. Which one you use depends on your arrival method. The upper or back entrance is next to the bus station. The lower or front entrance is by the parking lot. This park used to offer a walk-around pass, but now everyone must purchase a standard ticket that includes admission and rides. This costs €43 in person as of 2024, but you can get tickets for roughly half that price if you buy them in advance online. That is an incredible value for a park of this scale. The park also has long and late hours. Most days, they are open from noon all the way until 10 p.m. The park is open daily in the summer, but they may have weekend-only operations early and late in the season. The park is nearly year-round operations, as they're only closed in January and a few weeks in February at this point. It is quite impressive they're able to complete their annual maintenance in such a short window. Their ride operations leave much to be desired though, and you need to pick your poison. You'll have different issues depending if you visit on a quiet or busy day. The park's two most prominent roller coasters in Abismo and Tornado have minimum rider requirements. In 2019, both rides had to have completely full trains to operate. There could not be a single empty seat. And I visited on a 100-degree day with no wind, so it didn't seem to be weather-driven. Neither ride had enough guests to operate for the first hour of the day. I barely was able to get on Tornado before I had to leave, because it needed 24 riders and it was located in the corner of the park down a hill. When I returned in 2023, these minimum rider requirements seem to have been relaxed somewhat. Abysmo now seems to need every single row filled, but not every seat. Tornado doesn't need every seat filled, but most of them do need to be occupied. It would still take a few minutes for this each ride even on a busier day. Now if you do visit on a busy day, you will unfortunately encounter many slow-moving lines. Crews check restraints at an acceptable pace. The issue is more about the inherently low throughputs in each ride. Most coasters run just one train. This is especially painful in Abysmo because it seats just 12 riders at a time. This ride routinely gets hour-long waits. Even the coasters that have multiple trains have poor capacities. TNT Tren de la Mina can run 2, but usually runs just 1 from my experience. Then Tarantula and Vertigo run multiple cars, but each seats just 4 people, so these 3 coasters often have 30 to 45 minute waits. You'll also encounter sizable waits for the water rides if you visit on a hot day, which is pretty much any day in the summer. And the park's 2 tallest flat rides also do not have the best capacities. Starflyer is a long cycle, then the Lanzadera Drop Towers had just 1 of its 3 gondolas available in both my visits, meaning it can hold just 4 riders per cycle. And none of these queues are particularly exciting. There's no theming, and most are just tight switchbacks, but they are at least shaded from the sun. One other operational policy worth pointing out is that seating on the roller coasters is on a first-come basis. You can let people pass you in line if the row you want is already taken, but there's no guarantee that row will be available in the following cycle. This is because the Speedy Pass skip the line system boards directly into the station, and they always seem to get their first pick of seats. Because of this in the slow-moving lines, I would recommend investing in Speedy Pass if you anticipate any crowds. This costs €6 per individual ride, or 30 to 40 euros for all-day options. This is a lot less than most theme parks would charge for a line-skipping service. You can keep riding most attractions over and over if you'd like. This includes most of the park's major rides, and you often board the next cycle. So how should you tour this park if you don't have Speedy Pass? If you arrive at opening and see a lot of people queuing to get in, I would start with Abysmo. This is the park's most unique coaster, and it tends to have the worst wait day after day. I would then ride Tarantula because Abysmo's exit drops you off right next to that ride's entrance. I know it's tempting to ride Tornado next because it's right there, but it's unlikely there will be enough guests over there to do so. You'll need to return to this one later. If you want to re-ride Abysmo, and it still is a short wait, now is the time to get one. Afterwards, or alternatively, head over to Naturaleza to ride Vertigo and TNT Tren de la Mina before those 2 coasters develop sizable queues. Their line should still be manageable if you arrive within the first hour of operation. This strategy allows you to experience the 4 busiest rides with minimal waits. Now let's delve deeper into the park's ride lineup. The roller coaster lineup is quite good. It is unique and covers all thrill levels. The 2 big things they're missing are an airtime-centric ride and something with a launch, so hopefully they can add something in the future to address these gaps. If you want more in-depth thoughts about these rides, I already have full reviews published for their 4 largest coasters. Their wildest coaster is Abysmo. This is the world's only Mauer extended sky loop. This ride starts with an inverted chain lift that leads directly into a barrel roll. It is freaky and offers some crazy hang time. The following dive loop and overbank offer crushing positive Gs. Then there's a camelback with wonderful ejector airtime. This rides a blitz of forces and a ton of fun. 2 cons though beyond the capacity. It is on the shorter side, and it is a tad uncomfortable at points between the shuffling during high G moments and the sudden stop in the vertical incline. Tornado is my favorite coaster at the park. This is an uncommon full-circuit inverted coaster from Intamin. The ride's pacing is strange. The train ebbs and flows through each of the elements, but the spikes and positive Gs are strong on the vertical loops and turns. Then the corkscrew is an extremely snappy maneuver over the midway, and this ride tracks reasonably well. Just lean forwards on the directional changes and you'll have no trouble here. Tarantula is a Mauer spinning coaster built in a hill. This allows the ride to feature some sizable drops for the genre. I especially love the surprise drop after the second horseshoe turn. Then this coaster also has a few light spots of airtime and consistently good spinning throughout. There aren't too many spinners better than this one. TNT Tren de la Mina is a Gerstlauer family coaster, dabbling in a bit of everything. The turns offer solid force. A few hills towards the end offer airtime pops. Then the coaster also passes through a few themed caves. This is a wonderful ride for all ages. Vertigo is a mock Wild Mouse. It was once the second side of Speedy Bob at Bobbejaanland. When I rode this coaster in 2019, it ran completely unbraked, resulting in wild laterals in the first half and airtime pops in the bunny hills. The lats were still there in 2023, but the second half was trimmed harshly. The deceleration was sudden and uncomfortable, and this also negated the negative Gs. Then there are two coasters targeted towards kids. Both can accommodate adults if they want to accompany their children, or if they want to get an extra coaster credit. Padrino's Voladores is a Zamperla Air Force. This is basically their common Fiesta Express coaster, crossed with the suspended coaster. It is a very tame ride experience with barely any drops, but it is unique. Patrulla Canina is the more common Zamperla gravity coaster, and unfortunately, it is one of the jerkier ones. There are some pretty bad jolts on the turns, so be warned. While on the topic of kids rides, most of them are in the aforementioned Nickelodeon area. There are roughly a dozen rides that can mostly accommodate kids and adults alike. For adult flats, there are a few spinning rides. This even includes some rarer ones from Huss. There's a Condor named Rotor that's worth checking out if you've never been on one. Machina is a frisbee with a nice program. It spins at a good clip, offering nice centripetal forces, and a few swings do offer some light airtime. Top Spin is one of the best cycles I've seen for this type of ride. It had a different sequencing and more inversions. This included a chain of fast and forceful flips, and 4 slow inversions chock full of hang time. But the best 2 flats are not from Huss. My favorite is Lanzadera. This is a 200-foot or 63-meter tall Intamin giant drop. The views are fantastic, and the drop is exhilarating. You drop like a rock and float the whole way down. You get even better views on the Star Flyer. This large fun-time swing stands 262 feet or 80 meters tall. It is not as fast as other installations, but that is deliberate so it's easier to admire the sights. You can see for miles in each direction, and this one is a long cycle as well. Moving on to the water rides, this park is a strong collection, which makes sense given the climate. Aserradero is a rare log flume from Zamperla. The first drop is surprisingly steep, and it has a nice pop of airtime. The second drop is larger, but not quite as wild. The splashes after each drop will get you wet, but there are 2 other features that can get you soaked. One, it is possible to be hit by the final drop splash later in the ride. 2, the final cave is an unavoidable waterfall at the end. Fjordos is the park's most drenching ride. This is an extended shoot-the-chutes from Intamin. There are some extra turns leading up to the drop, but that drop is still the highlight. It is zippy and has some airtime in the back, and the resultant splash will get everything but your shoes soaked. Rapidos is a Hopkins River Rapids ride. The course is scenic and tucked among the trees. There are a handful of rapids, but none are particularly wet. The way you come off soaked is if all the sprayers and geysers hit you. These are more towards the end. Then Splash Bash is a splash battle where riders and guests have water guns. Then it's themed to Glove World if you're a SpongeBob fan. You can also get wet from the employee refreshment cart. An employee on a truck rides down the midway spinning a wet towel to hit guests as they walk by. This park used to have a dark ride named Cueva de las Tarantulas. This was a shooting dark ride located underneath Tarantula. The show building still stands, but the ride has been removed. I would love to see a replacement in the future, especially because it would be another way to escape the heat. The only indoor ride at this time is the Walking Dead Experience. This is an upcharge, but it's well worth it. I've never seen the TV show, but the sets were solid for a regional park, and the scare actors were exemplary. They were plentiful, well-timed, and animated. 2 additional rides worth pointing out. First, there's Jungla. This is a slow-moving boat ride through the woods, and there are some Jungle Cruise-inspired scenes. The figures are aged and have limited movement, but the overall atmosphere of the ride makes the experience work. Second, there's Zeppelin. This is a unique suspended monorail. I imagine it gives a nice tour of the back half of the park, but it has unfortunately been closed in both my visits. Not sure if I've just been unlucky, or if that's a common occurrence. Beyond the rides, this park has some shows listed on their website, but I chose to focus on the rides in both my visits, so I cannot speak on their quality. I have had some meals here. I ate at the Nickelodeon Cafe, and it was basic fast food. It was okay. I did get a pizza elsewhere in the park that was pretty good though. Now, one weird thing I saw here is that one restaurant misters spraying above the tables. I know it gets hot here, but I doubt many people would enjoy that while eating. That is probably why these tables were empty. The final thing I want to touch on is the language barrier. I speak only a little Spanish. I'd say half the employees spoke some English, but even if you don't know Spanish, you should have no trouble getting around. A lot of signage is in English or self-explanatory. So, do I recommend Parque de Atracciones de Madrid? Yes, I do. This is a surprisingly pretty park with a laid-back vibe, despite being in a major city. Then the ride lineup is quite strong and different than most parks. There are some good coasters, many of which are rare ride models. Then the supporting cast of non-coasters includes some scenic attractions well worth experiencing. The biggest con with this park are the operations and the low throughputs. Simply put, it can be difficult to do a lot fast unless you have a speedy pass. If you only have time for one theme park while in Madrid, pick Parque Warner Madrid. That is now one of Europe's best theme parks with the opening of Batman Gotham City Escape. But I'm guessing most people watching this video are theme park fans. If that's the case, it is well worth doing both parks in a single trip. As I said at the start, the 2 parks complement each other well. How much time do you need at Parque de Atracciones de Madrid? I think you can do the major rides in roughly half the operating day if you have an efficient start of the day and don't have many long waits, or this can be done if you purchase Speedy Pass. But if you do encounter sizable crowds, don't have a Speedy Pass, and want multiple re-rides, you may need the whole day. So those are my thoughts on Parque de Atracciones de Madrid. What are your thoughts on this park? Have you been there? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.